track record so far. We're not going to go so easy on Liverpool, though, Janusz. They lost to Brighton 3-0. Now, you'll remember that De Zerbi's Brighton, that first game that they had was against Liverpool, and it finished 3-3. But to take this next step up from Brighton, to be able to go and score 3 without reply, just brings us even more questions about Liverpool right now. What are your biggest concerns from what you saw in this game?
Aside from injury, which is important, but I mean, look, Liverpool lost its edge and they lost their legs. I mean, there's no science or algorithms behind it. It's as simple as that. Ultimately, when they get their key players, I think we know that going forward, even without them, it hasn't been a massive issues. They're still capable of scoring goals, but it's almost it almost seems like Jurgen Klopp is sabotaging himself. I mean, because he's going against his philosophy, right? You know what's wrong with that team. You need to fix that midfield. Look at Brighton. I mean, Brighton almost did to Liverpool what Liverpool normally or used to do to everybody else. And why? I mean, I can look at Brighton and 2 players in that midfield. One of them, Moises Caicedo, which Liverpool supposedly is interested in, and World Cup winner in McAllister. I know it's not that easy to just say, hey, get them both, but he must be out there, and he probably is trying to get those players. Now, the question is FSG willing still to do that, and how much money are they willing to spend and when? So to me, it's that simple. I mean, these players have had number of goals that they wanted to achieve. They've achieved them. There's a letdown after that. That's normal. But now you have to get younger, hungrier players that are willing to do that work to achieve those big goals again.
So just naming those players that you have there from Brighton, because it's important now for what I'm going to ask you next, because who are the players that you'd realistically target that you think are available that they could actually go for to actually solve that problem? Obviously, you've mentioned 2 there. If you could choose, who would it be?
I think first and foremost would be Caicedo, because his range of play, physicality, pace, ability to win the ball. He's able to press. I was watching him. These rumors were flying. I remember I was in the stadium in Qatar. I didn't commentate that game, but I think it was when he scored against Senegal, I think. I mean, he's a wonderful player. And first and foremost, you need that. The Geneva Wijnaldum, and not exactly the same, but I think it gives you, the profile of the players is similar. So that would be the first and foremost. Now, if you want to look at McAllister, I mean, maybe Jordan Henderson at his best, a player that can score, that can distribute, that can win the ball, that can be a leader in that midfield. He's been doing that for Argentina. He's been doing that now for a while, not just now, for Brighton as well. So those are 2 players that come to mind very, very easily. I'm sure there are others, but I can't imagine. Remember, I was talking about Enzo Fernandez. I mean, he's a great player. He's a young player, but totally different, isn't he? He's there now. He can sit. Obviously, we know at Benfica in the midfield 3, sometimes or 2, he can play off to the left as well, which would fit Liverpool fine. But I think if I look at, for example, one of the 2, if they could get between McAllister and Caicedo, I think that changes and improves Liverpool immediately.
Realistically, then, with how things are going, if this doesn't happen right now and we've got the rest of the season, how much longer does Klopp stay? Is he still safe in his role there?
I would like to say he is. If he starts being, stops being so loyal to some of the players that he needs to replace. We've talked about him, right? Jordan Henderson is not going to get better. There's no questions about that. Fabinho, I think, can play better than he does right now, but longer term, I don't see it. I mean, he still uses James Milner when available more often than people would like to see him play. So you look at that midfield, it's non-existent. So I think there's a certain level of loyalty that he can't get past. So he has to reinvent himself again. He has to remember that perception about the 7 years elsewhere. I don't buy it. I don't care about that, right? We've seen Sir Alex Ferguson be there for a long time, Arsene Wenger. That's not a problem. But perception is there. So people are going to talk about it. And I think he needs to show very quickly that he's a tough manager that can make tough decisions. And I don't know if that's been the case. And again, I mean, there's 5 or 6 or 7 players, key players who are missing. And just as that's an excuse to a certain degree for Chelsea Football Club, it's same with Liverpool.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.